To the landfill, Alabama Power is repurposing their equipment to help the environment and grow the Gulf Coast. This retired boiler was refurbished and dropped into the Gulf of Mexico to be reused as a reef. Not only does this give marine life a home, it also helps boost the economy by providing a new reef for fishermen and their businesses. Alabama Power is proud to support growing the Gulf Coast.
This is WDHM News at 6.
Good evening, I'm Mike Erskine.
This is WDHM News at 6.
Good evening, I'm Mike Erskine.
And I'm Amanda Arnold. Thank
Don't blame her. Connects with the disaffected youth and the mentally ill. And thank you. Marginal.
We'll do whatever we can. As long as you do the right thing, we're there for you.
Especially you, Dr. Mindy, because you pull so much higher than your colleagues.
He will help us destroy our common enemy, the Bianchi.
Well, I think we're done.
Yep.
Can I say something?
Yeah, we've been dying to hear what you guys say.
I didn't vote for you. But this is obviously much bigger than my misgivings. So I will be 100% behind this effort, no matter how offensive I may find it.
Wow. That's great. That's really nice. You know, I did have the FBI put that bag over your head. They don't do that. The CIA does, but I made them do it.
You know, I had a feeling. I really did.
Good feeling, because that is what I did, and it was very funny and cool.
May Jesus Christ bless every single one of you, especially the honorable members of my own party. We will prevail.
Guys, the comic series is working out. Oh, it's coming. People gotta dig in. I already got bias for these shovels on E-Market. Clean slate for President Orleans. It needs life in the lab. How cocky it is. $1,000 a pop. Suddenly fucking.
You don't look I'm about to do anything.
There is the real talk of a Nobel Peace Prize in the offing.
You got a lot. Hello, Sammy.
Are you really a doctor?
Well, sort of. I'm an astronomer.
Oh, what is an astronomer?
Dr. Mindy, there is a lot of fear out there in America, around the world. Parents don't know what to say to their kids. What would you say to them to help them understand?
I'm sure many of us are frightened right now. But I can assure you, our best and our brightest, they're on the job. I've seen the science on this plan, and it is sound.
I know your words are a great comfort to all our viewers, Dr. Midland. We thank you for your courage and your service. I just like to say, whenever I feel afraid or alone in this, I take a deal and I feel better. So thank you.
It's my job.
Tell me we're all gonna die. Oh, tell me we're all gonna die. We're all gonna die. Oh.
Oh, boy.
Mr. Paquetti, Congressman, this data has been proven and has been peer-reviewed by hundreds of world-renowned scientists.
And we're supposed to trust you. The comet's got your name.
I don't see the relevancy.
Well, I want to ask the question. Ask the question.
Then what's the question?
Grow up here. Hey, this is ridiculous.
I just realized we don't really know anything about each other, do we?
True. Every time I try to ask you about your life, you just tell me about your favorite restaurants.
Well, I just despise getting to know you part of the relationship.
Okay.
Okay, let's just get it over and done with. So, my grandfather invented the flash freezing process, so I come from grotesque money, but I got away from it by getting 3 master's degrees. I've been divorced twice. One was a Secretary of State, and the other one was a sport fisherman. I stuck to 2 former presidents. I speak 4 languages, and I own 2 minutes.
Wow. 2 former presidents. Wow. My turn. All right. Well, my father was a middle school geography teacher. My mother, she cut hair out of the kitchen. About 2 years ago, our family dog Jojo died, which was really, really emotional. I can't remember crying that much ever. And I finally got my my Star Wars poster signed by Mark Hamill. It's in the garage.
Okay, good. That's done. Where are we gonna go for dinner tonight?
The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the quiet waters. He restores my soul.
Not just do they ever see such a mass mobilization of units and resources.
Okay, here we go, everyone. Let's stay sharp.
Hold on, Johnny. Come on, motherfucker. Let's light this fucking firecracker, huh? Think I got all day?
Commander Drast, this is your president speaking. Your nation, thank
Hey man, what's up?
your planet.
Hey, I made it. Probably just you and me. Yeah, sure.
Thank you for joining us. Tonight, a shocking video that's gone viral. An 86-year-old barber beaten by a customer who suddenly became violent and attacked him.
Indeed, Amanda, I know, unusual. I spoke with the victim today at his barber shop in Florella, along with an eyewitness who stepped in to help. Tonight, they're telling their story, only seen on WDHN. The video is hard to watch. Monday afternoon, barber J.B. Clary was cutting a customer's hair when the man suddenly jumps up and belts the 86-year-old man. The blow knocks him to the floor of his shop. When he hit you, what were your thoughts?
Well, I didn't know it till he knocked me down right there, see? I mean, my back was to it.
He hit you while you were turned around.
Yeah.
I mean, is that a trick question? Fair enough, but so we have any background as to why the guy hit him? I mean, well, everybody that cut my hair in South Mississippi, if I'd have wheeled around and smacked them, they'd have beat the shit out of me. But it's a, I mean, yeah, I've always was taught, the man with the scissors and the razor is the one you don't turn around and slap when they're cutting your hair. I mean, that's basic species preservation. Well, I have a very, very shallow understanding of the glorious holiday that is Festivus. I wish I knew more. I am not a typical practitioner. I'm more of a regular pagan Christmas guy, but Festivus is one of those holidays I can get my head around. Right? Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So, I mean, I feel like there should be more people here for an airing of grievances, but if we're, you know, Frank Costanza, the prophet that we deserve. Yes, actually, not a fan, but yeah. Luckily, I have an expert. Well, why not? I mean, that's the the uh, the nectar. I do recall. As that rain blows upon me, I realized there had to be another way. Yep. 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 That was the first place I ever saw one of it. Was the Underwood movies. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. And there it goes. Yeah, brother, your liquor license starts rubbing too hard against the citations you've gotten. Yeah, that's one of the places in the cosmic wherewithal that may have been one of the few places that you and I both darkened the door of on the same night before we knew each other. Hmm. Yeah, no, was the seafood place. Yeah, yeah, Well, it's can't beat the guy that got caught in Florida, got caught in Manatee County with the drugs around his dick and said they weren't his. Yet another great Florida man story to round out the year of 2020, 21. Yeah, of course. Anything REO Speedwagon, I am deeply versed in. It's yeah, it's every white family when I was growing up had a copy of the Andy Williams Christmas album, and I thought that was probably the worst. There are a lot of really bad Christmas albums out there, and I got to break it to you that REO Speedwagon's one of them. Not good. I did see that. I'm not entirely sold on that science yet, and not because it doesn't fit my agenda, just because I don't see the significant peer review that you would normally see in a scientific release of that nature. We did get our booster shots. We are boosted, and if we need to get another one, we'll get another one. And I can honestly say that yes, and I feel like that it's gotten to a point in this country. I don't mean the world. I mean in this country specifically that there is no solution for this pandemic, and we will be the last country on the planet that's still battling the effects of it because our nation of free thinkers just will not get their heads around the science of this. And because this particular strain of the COVID-19 virus is not killing people left and right like the first few strains did, it's going to go in one ear and out the other. The one of the greatest lines ever uttered is, "What the American people don't know is what make them the American people," and that is absolutely and completely true, and never has had a better example than the last 2 years of this pandemic. I can only hope and light a candle and be positive that the future variants will not be killers like the first were. I can only hope and light a candle and be positive that that if they are, they're going to kill many, 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 many more people before it vanishes from the face of the earth and stops killing hosts. Okay. I made the greatest lasagna of all time tonight. It was incredible. Nope, mine's incredible. 3-day sauce. It's stupid good. It's it's the best one I've ever made. Let's see if I have the bandwidth to get YouTube. Bandwidth to get YouTube. Oh, I do have it. And don't worry, we don't have any views here either. Bandwidth to get YouTube. Oh, I do have it. And don't worry, we don't have any views here either. And don't worry, we don't have any views here either. And don't worry. All right, what is it, like rapid fire round? This late? Oh, well, that's not bad. I do remember the story. Didn't they put the needle through him? Yeah, last week. Yeah, Christmas miracle. Sounds like a real peach. So it's really sad that he's not breathing the air behind. Yeah, I don't remember the case, but I remember the story. Of the new Pfizer pill. 780 courses. That's great. That's 760 courses more than people are going to take. So whatever. They are going to take shit. None of those people up there are going to take nothing. Those things are going to end up next to the saltine crackers from 1961 in the bomb shelter below the governor's mansion.
St. Jude is fighting.
I was everything in Mobile lit up. Everything over 6 stories, all 5 buildings. I did not. Well, yeah, but I mean, I like to think that just because of the angle of the camera on my forehead. No, the thing about the thing that a lot of people don't understand about Homo sapien versus Neanderthal is that we were more brothers than cousins, and the Neanderthal race didn't really get bred out or forced into extinction more so than they were assimilated. So whenever somebody says, well, the Neanderthals are much more human than we thought, well, the measure of human by today's standards is wildly different from archaeological standards. And when they say that, they're talking about the way that, humans use 5 senses, and maybe the Neanderthals didn't have a particularly keen developed sense of hearing. And so we're talking about very small genetic differences. And so when they say they could be more human than we initially thought, well, that could just mean that, someone did a real study and found out the olfactory canals of Neanderthals are actually more advanced than we thought. Because Neanderthals were assimilated, really. It's not like Homo sapiens got together and said, we got to kill all the Neanderthals. It anthropologically did not happen that way. So, Christmas Eve is when people really want to hear science like this. So I'm glad for anybody that decides to give it a listen. Mm-hmm. It died in the 70s. That's many years ago. Many years ago. A million. Now that's interesting. That I didn't know. That's incredible. I guess to have intact DNA that you could actually sequence. You know what this means, don't you? that somewhere, some shadowy corporation with a owner and CEO that lives in a castle-like structure is trying to build a modern mammoth. And, well, we all know how that's going to end. Yeah, a mammoth. Yep, and they'll cross it with the embryo of an elephant, you know, to give it a modern viability. And we'll have parks with woolly mammoths in them. And at some point, something terrible is going to happen. I'm aware of the studies and the science surrounding it. I'm not quite aware enough to call it a cure, but well, wait a minute. I think that there's a little more science to it than that. I don't think that the people that are dealing with uh, affecting gene disorders are the type that are gambling on, well, we might not have eyes if we use it. I think that's more of big pharma doing that sort of thing, not so much the genome project. I hope not. I was I was told that I need to watch my cholesterol around the same time that I was told I needed to quit smoking, and that was about senior year of high school. As you can see, I'm not really great. I don't eat eggs every day. That's my solution. I'd rather do that than have anything up my nose. Well, most for bingo. I wish I wish I owned a house in Alabama. I'd build one of those in every house to max out my $3,000 tax credit every year. They have many injections that help reduce the risk of HIV. There's lots of those on the market. Actually, that's not a first. That may be a little more. Well, there's actually, if you do some of the research on that, there's actually quite a few products on the market right now that are prophylactics towards HIV. That's not the kind of thing I would let my fiance hear on a public podcast, but whatever floats your boat, Big Daddy. Nope, I missed that. I got nothing for. I remember the Tiger King being such an incredible. You talk about a great analgesic for the American public during a very trying time. The Tiger King really did it for a lot of us. But like I told my wife after I watched it, I grew up around people like that were that way, but not about animals, but about, I don't know, NASCAR and a couple other things. And I have just zero empathy for that type of person, period. None. And so all the stuff that happens, yeah, it's great. Everybody gets to watch. Anything they say, oh, well, we're going to stop the Cub trade. You know what? I'm not putting the Cub trade on my front burner as far as social issues go. I'm still focusing on the right to vote and things like that. Sorry, you're not going to push it down my throat. No empathy for them at all. I hope they all go broke and lose their teeth. Oh, wait, that was what the original Tiger King was about. So, hey, maybe in a weird upside down world, they all get new teeth and end up with a couple $100 a week. Right. That's a real great illustration of putting the cart before the horse. Of course there's not. Of course there's not. Of course there's not, because it's just going to be used to buy military grade weapons for law enforcement because they're private murder squads in certain counties of this country. St. Stanislaus High School in Bay St. Louis, Mississippi. The St. Stanislaus Rockachaws. St. Stanislaus. Yeah, the oyster thing's what's that? Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Yeah. The Gulf of Mexico has been such an ever-changing body. Well, no, not really. It's the Gulf of Mexico is so incredibly resilient. And right, because it cycles. I mean, when I learned about the Barrier Islands when I was young, I learned one of the first things I learned was called littoral drift, and that the Barrier Islands move constantly. Now there will always be Barrier Islands, but they won't always be in the same place, and that's because of the way the currents of the Gulf of Mexico move. Right, and the thing is, if you look at maps from the 1600s, the late 1600s and the early 1700s, they note islands off the coast of Mississippi, Alabama, Florida, and Louisiana. Uh, if you look at the maps in the 1800s, it notes completely different sets of islands. That's not necessarily because of improvements or lack of cartography. That's because these islands actually move around. They literally move to the east, down into the Gulf, and come back up below the mouth of the river. And that's the way that they will always be. And it's so fascinating to think that will that blue water ever come back? It's likely, it's possible. It just may be a few thousand years from now. Well, we can only hope. We can only hope. I have higher aspirations for the Gulf of Mexico than I do humanity itself. Let's just say that. The Gulf's never let me down. I heard there was something about blowing up Tesla, but I thought it was a Twitter thing that started trending or something. I didn't know they actually blew something up. I feel that, guys. I feel that rage, man. I made the mistake of buying a car from a neighborhood car lot a couple of years ago, and it was a complete piece of junk. I mean, I bought it because it looked comfortable and it rode comfortable. And about 3 weeks in, all kind of stuff started. The sea foam wore off of the inside of the engine, and it just started falling apart. And I told him, look, you can take this car back. I want my money back. And he said, well, no, you're financing it, so you have to do this and that. And I said, okay, great. And I did something that my wife is terribly embarrassed of. And she, to this day, tells the story and says, I don't know how you didn't get locked up. But the car dealership was built around an old Sonic. And I literally drove it in the middle of the night through the gates and parked it in front of the doors to enter the place and left it there with the keys in it and took a cab home. And I just left it there. I never heard a thing from him. I just left it there. I never paid another dime on the note, stopped payment on it. And that's kind of how I feel. You know, I can feel that guy's rage when they say, "Oh, there's nothing we can do about it." Well, there's something I can do about it, make me feel better. So you do it. Yep. No, it's high time. It's peak of oyster season right now. That's the beauty. That's the beauty of internal polling, is that I can find 10 people and ask all 10 of them, "What do you think of the toll?" And if 7 of them say, "Toll sounds good to me, as long as we get some money from it," they have no idea what you're talking about. And you could post that as a 75% poll result. So it is what it is. Absolutely. Completely full. All 19 hospitals. Yep. You're fine. This. Oh yeah, because it blew up. Yeah, I remember reading about that. All I do when I see you've had 50 homicides in 2021 and it leads to your deadliest year, I just laugh in New Orleans. You have 50 homicides for the year in the city of New Orleans. People will say it's a fucking banner year for fighting crime. It looks like everybody put their guns down. I remember when New Orleans pre-Katrina was having 50 homicides a month. The boys down at the 8th precinct didn't even leave their desks. Good. There'll be another naval hero, probably fights in the next war that we can put there. Never know, it could be. Yeah, a guy named Strickland, right? I don't know much about him. I just know that Cade didn't want the job, which should tell you a lot about Mobile Bay. It is. That's what I'm saying. That's why Cade Kistler, the real Mobile Baykeeper, didn't want the job. Yep. I live in Texas, Harry. Of course I know what constitutional carry is. registered sex offender. Uh-huh. Yes. Well, there's two types of lawyers in Baldwin County, Harry. Those that want to make money and those that don't. And you're the one in that other column. There's those that play the game and those that don't. And you're one lawyer. Bring it. I kind of, I think we ought to focus group it because I think you could go the other direction with it and be a little more hard hitting. Water is the new sewer. Right. Of anybody that you mentioned, I'm going to say this, and y'all can build a St. Andrew's cross to flog me on in Baldwin County. But I'm here to tell you, if there's anybody that's in it for the purpose of principle, Chief Shane Stringer. I may not agree with his political testaments on certain things, but when I tell you that he is a principled man and is unyielding on those principles, it's him. I just hate that he's fighting against us in a lot of ways. I got to. Well, I won't. Right. I'll tell you a story that I know about Lyndon Johnson. When Lyndon Johnson was vice president in 1960, he was given control. Well, he was from Texas. So, like, I mean, everything's bigger in Texas. Lyndon Johnson was vice. Lyndon Johnson was vice president in 1960, and he took over NASA. The When NASA was created, it was put under the purveyance of the vice president's office. The vice president is the de facto head of NASA. And when he took it over, uh, Kennedy told him, I want to go to the moon." And John said, "All right, we'll make NASA do it, and we'll hide our ballistic missile testing behind NASA, so you can just blank check me." And the first thing he said was not, "When are we going to put someone on the moon?" or "How are we going to put someone on the moon?" His first statement was, "How do we monetize this?" Because no bucks, no Buck Rogers. And if any of you read The Right Stuff, you know exactly what I'm talking about. No bucks, no Buck Rogers. And he said, "How do we make the money for it?" Lyndon Johnson was a far out thinker. He was a logistician that said, "How are we going to make this money down the road? Because we ain't going to the moon next week. So we need to start making money on it now." This pandemic is full of people that think we're going to the moon next week. We're not. They figured out, how do we monetize this the best, most profit-based way possible? And these are the visionary thinkers that are going to lead us into the 2030s. And we are feeling like we see the consequences of this pandemic right now. No, no, no. You're going to see the consequences of this pandemic in 2030. When my son is going to college, he's going to see and feel the financial repercussions of this pandemic if we aren't all consumed in a world war by then. I'm a realist, if nothing else. And my track record on predicting these kind of things has been pretty good. I still think he did the right thing. I think they did the right thing. Fuck them. Fuck them. is an absolute bullshit project. Fuck them. Yeah. Uh-huh. I do it with you all the time. Yeah. No, I think it's 40 some cents now. Almost 50 cents. Yeah. 40 something cents, yeah. I think if you really want to make a difference in public comment things, if you really want to write someone a letter, send it one letter at a time, not one letter, like literally one alphabetic letter at a time. Send them an email every day with the next word or the next letter. And after you're done, you realize you've sent probably 1,000, 1,500 emails to make your statement. That's what I think public comment's good for. Everybody gets their day in court. That person will have theirs. And I can tell you, I guarantee you, there's one member of that team who's sitting there reading this story going, it's 2021. I have body dysmorphia. And my biggest question is, why didn't she ever try to molest me? Nope. You know, I like to think that I like to think that the overwhelming majority of the professionals I dealt with in scouting were of the type that would never act on such an urge. But after much deep and introspective thought and the recent mortgaging of the unmortgageable Philmont Scout Ranch to settle lawsuits to the contrary, I'm beginning to think that it was because of my hair yet. All right, it's 1 minute to Christmas, Harry. I think we got to wrap this up. Sign it off on a good note. Well, you got to hand it to the Jesuits. They always find a way around things. That's a Catholic joke that you're not going to get till tomorrow when you go to church for your once a year check-in. NYPD Blue Who. He must have paid a lot of money. Got plenty to say about that. sounds kind of familiar, doesn't it? You know, if you want to get hung on, if you want to hang them on one thing, you definitely got to have them committed on another. Well, I think there's people out there that I believe there's well, the grand jury indicted, man, and I got to tell you, there are people that go out there and do their job every day, especially police officers who manage not to confuse their gun with their dick and pull it on somebody. Bottom line. Yeah. Sure it does. I think that if you want blue lives to matter and you want to hold police to this hero worship thing, they ought to act like fucking heroes when it's time to and not accidentally kill people. I hope her commissary account goes into the negative. Sure. All right, it's Christmas morning, dude. I got to go wrap presents. Merry Christmas, dickhead. How about for Christmas this year, you follow me on Twitter, asshole? I just noticed that in your little follow. No, you don't. You got to click follow on my picture. Check. Nope. Not a I am nope. I can tell you, I can interpret it for you absolutely and completely. I have 3 words that encompass my entire feeling on the matter. Lee Harvey Oswald. We can only hope. Merry Christmas, and we'll talk to you soon.